everybody. See, I didn't know that was going to pop off or what that was going to do. It just jumped off on its own. Okay. Trying something new. All right. I didn't even bring my phone over here, but it's okay. I am Dr. Torri J. I am the founder and CEO of the Fatherless Generation Foundation, and Healing Tuesdays are back. I got to tell you, it is 4 a.m. for me where I am right now. So bear with me as I'm awake, but not awake. I wanted to do this conversation um, with the idea and the understanding of fighting for fatherhood. There are many aspects of fighting for fatherhood, but I do believe that child support can be one of the most contentious aspects of the co-parenting relationships. I don't know how many of you agree with that, but I want to say this too. If you are in the chat, no, I don't want to do chat overlay. If you are in the chat, tell me who you are, give me your name, where you're from, chime in, let me know all of that. Um, Give me 2 seconds too. I hate to do this, but I can tell the TV is not muted and I need to mute the TV. So while I'm doing that, tell me who you are, where you're from, all of that in the chat for me, please. I can't wait to have this conversation because this was not my plan to have to mute the TV. But I had to mute the TV. This is real life. Real life happens. Um, and as real life is happening, I have to do what I have to do. But as I want to know where you are, who you are. Tell me your name. If you are watching this, I'm going to say this now. If you are watching this in replay, please put replay in the chat. I can't wait to see your comments tonight, just because I am curious what people have to say. I did see, and I'm going to start it off by reading what somebody actually said in the on the post. When I posted that I was going to be talking about child support tonight, there was a lady who posted about a situation she has. I want to read it because I want to tell you, child support, once again, child support is one of the most contentious aspects of, um, oh, people are sharing. Thank you for sharing. That's another thing. Share, share, share. Um, why is it so contentious? Can you guys jump in and tell me why you think child support is so contentious? Why you think that it's the place where where the rubber meets the road, like they can't quite get it together? Do you have any comments as to why you believe child support is that contentious place? I know, and some of you are going to get on here and talk about Title 4D. You're going to get on here and talk about all those things. I'm not really going to talk about those things tonight, but I know you're going to put those in the chat because I know who watches my stuff. I want to find her comment. Maybe she deleted it. Okay, why would she do that? That's deep. Okay. I was going to read her comment. She was referring to someone who owed her $100,000 in child support. He was a dangerous man. She even told us his name and like went on this thing and like beware of him. I thought that was a lot. I don't want to come on and only tell one side of the story. I'm going to give you some statistics around child support. I don't see y'all commenting, and I like engagement. Let me turn this down because maybe I can't see your comments on this chat. Nope, y'all liking it, but you aren't commenting. Come on now. Why do you believe that child support is the most contentious aspect of a co-parenting relationship? Y'all got an answer for that. I know you do. Maybe you ain't ready to tell your answer yet, but I just want to know why you believe it is. I want to visit a couple of things real quick. I looked up some statistics, and I just Googled child support statistics. That was one of the things I Googled. But I also Googled child support. I don't remember what I Googled in this particular thing, but I was looking for the video that I'm going to share with you tonight. And the video is a little lengthy, but I believe you need to watch the video, and don't get discouraged by the video. Sometimes people, when I'm showing videos, y'all jump off. I think the video, no, I don't think. The video is very important to watch because it's the side of the conversation I want to have. But when I Googled Child support, men having to pay over and over again. Here's some of the things that came up. Father owes more than 1 million in child support. Feds capture man who owes over 1 million in back child support. That was 2013. The other one was 2023. Um, uh, NBA player ordered to pay 1 million in child support arrears. Um, Rap artists can now perform abroad after paying child support. That was deep. Those are the things that come up. So I wanted to go over some statistics because I don't think it's right that if we're on here and we're going to talk about it, that we're not talking about the real numbers. I thought this one was pretty interesting because I didn't know this one. And these are all from 2023, single parent statistics in 2023, as of February 4th, 2023. So that's just a few weeks ago. 80% of all single parents in the US are single mothers. That's deep. That's a lot of single mothers. And I have my own perspective on that I am not going to have a conversation about tonight, maybe another night. 52% or 52.9% of single mothers are millennials. Is that real? What do you guys think about that? And I'm going to read these off not as if I feel like they're all 100% true, because we know statistics can, like, I do believe that when people do research, that they are intentionally looking for the correct numbers. But I'm looking at this now. And even when it says, according to the census of 2021, so they're looking at the census when they got this 80% of single mothers, 20% are single fathers, and the single parent families were 11 million single parent families. That number seems low as well. 15.6 million children live in single mother households in the US. I don't know if that number seems a little low to me as well, but I'm going to go with it. Single mothers have a 35.6 smaller median income than single fathers. This is how I found this particular data. Only 45.9% of single parents receive full child support. I've seen other numbers. I've seen other data. Before I knew it was 72.6% actually received full child support, but that was because the men had access. And the other 23.4%, I think is the number, 76.4. I'm saying these numbers wrong. 76.4 received full child support, but the fathers had access, right? So 24.6 didn't receive full child support, but the men didn't have access. And so this is a new number for me, but it was one of the reasons I pulled it up because I thought it was an interesting thing. 28.9% of single mother households live below the poverty line. 31% of single fathers are living with their own parents. I think that's, like, even when I read that, I was like, that is some shade, okay? Like, they live with their parents. Okay. That was deep. And I thought it was one of those moments where I was like, that's kind of unnecessary. Where am I? I want to say, I know other statistics that say in the state of Georgia, where our headquarters is, I'm just going to put this out here. In the state of Georgia, 70% of the men who owe child support make less than $10,000 a year. I know that number for sure. Some of these numbers, I'm like, and I looked on multiple sites, and those sites were saying similar numbers other than particular sites that I had known of and looked back at from previously. I liked the information because it was newer, but it looks like they pulled from the 2021 census. Okay, I'm seeing comments. Okay, I'm going to read that in a minute. I The challenge with these numbers to me, just a little bit, is not the percentage, it's the answer as to why. I know women are like, well, he made the child with me. Why isn't he paying? But it goes back to me, for me, it goes back to the conversation of does does he have access to his children, meaning parenting time? Because you can't tell me that 45% of individuals are receiving full payments, but if they're receiving full payments, are the men seeing the children is my question. And the ones who aren't seeing their children, um, is that the reason that they're not paying? I know men who, and once again, I get to have my opinion and I get to have my feelings. I'm not saying that it's right that men don't pay, but I'm not saying that it's right that you don't let them see the children either. Because one of the questions that I get often is, how do you pay for a car that you can't drive? Why would you pay for children that you can't see, that you're brokenhearted over, that you're having these like emotions and you're dealing with depression and you're going, so this is where it gets tough. And this is why it's contentious, because it's like the women are like, they're his children, he needs to pay. Why isn't he paying? He's saying, they're my children. Why can't I see them? You telling me I have to pay is extortion. And that's where it becomes this clash of two ideas and two minds, and why things don't move in the way that they should move. Now, some of you know that I have a podcast called I've Got Daddy Issues. And we've got episodes that we have filmed, but I want everyone to go back to that page. I'm looking for a bigger audience before I keep filming and keep putting out more episodes. But I did an episode on child support, and I brought two amazing Black women to the table. Um, one of the young ladies, and I posted a clip where I remember her calling me, telling me she was going to put him on child support. And I was like, "Ooh, I don't know, girlfriend. I don't think that's a good idea." Well, he's not. And then she calls me maybe a year later, was like, "How you take him off?" And I was like, "I don't know if you can. That's what I was telling you in the first place." I don't know how that happened, but she was able to take him off child support. And she talked about how it was more important for him to see his daughters than the money. It was more important for him to not be in jail than her to be focused on this money. The idea of focusing so much on the money was driving her in a direction that she didn't like. And it was driving the relationship between him, her, and her daughters, their daughters, in a direction that she didn't like. I think that stands, I'm working on saying the word think. That stands to show you that the relationship between father and children is way more important majority of the time. Do you need money to take care of the children? Yes. There's no question about that. But if you had to weigh the two and someone said pick one, would you pick the money or would you pick the father having access and time with his children? Because most of the time, that's what you're choosing. I remember having a conversation with a client's ex-wife. A lot of you don't realize that I talk to the women that I have to deal with when it comes to the work that we do of reunification. And the father was underneath like $1,400 a month. He had lost his job. He was looking for another job. And then he got another job. He was paying the money, but he had to work out of state. So it was making it very difficult for him to see the children on the times that he was supposed to see the children or that they wanted to see him. And I remember asking her, do you want the child support or do you want him to have time with the children? And she said, I will take the child support for 1,000, Alex, like we were playing Jeopardy. And I've learned that a lot with majority of women that I speak with. You will take the money over the time that the father spends with the children. I want to know why. I want to know why. Keisha says, um, let me see if this will go on here. Fully only concerns what his income is based on, keep in mind that it doesn't mean they can raise a child on it. I'm a social worker. These numbers are definitely off. That's what I thought. And these are on fed or state levels. They were actually supposed to be on fed levels, just so you know. And that's why I've heard the numbers over and over, Keisha, and listening to them, I was like, these are off to me. Like, but the number, the 45.9%, I wanted to hit that, but I also wanted to share the other numbers that I knew. Um, the Y is normally a mandatory issue because they need state assistance and therefore had to turn state on him to receive their benefits. Continue. Thank you. A lot of people don't know that, Keisha. A lot of people don't know that when you, as a woman, need some type of help, some type of assistance. I don't believe it's food stamps, but anything outside of food stamps, you need financial help, welfare. I know it takes money to raise the children, right? You need help. So you go to social services, welfare, whatever that is, and then you put his name down and they begin to garnish his wages. Like they take him through court and whatever, and then they garnish his wages. But here's the challenge with all of that. Here's the challenge with all of that. Some of you would actually get more money financially if you just deal with the child support aspect versus going through welfare, because welfare is collecting from him and taking it out of the money that you're getting. So some of you are like on welfare. Let's say you're getting some type of welfare. Dad is paying $250. Well, you're getting about $200 from the welfare system. Medicaid, I think, look, I mix up Medicaid and Medicare all the time, Keisha. They deduct that from the child support. So you're getting $10. Let's say you get $10 now because of the amount of money. Like, you have to realize that there is nothing that is for free. Nothing. And so, Dad, you're like, he's not paying child support and he's supposed to be paying. But you're getting money from the government, and the government is deducting his money, your money, the money for your kids, out of that Medicaid that you're getting. That's what they're doing. She said, custody is always accessible, but the men usually opt out because they are angry over the money. Okay, let's have that conversation. Custody ain't always accessible, Keisha. I know custody ain't always accessible. And Keisha just agreed with me when I said what I said, because she worked for welfare. She was like, yep. And so, because y'all don't realize y'all money getting deducted and some subtractions and stuff going on, and you mad because you thinking you not getting the money, and then the men are mad over having to pay the money. Keisha, right, y'all get mad about that. But I think it's the course of action by which they have to pay the money. Men aren't mad about having to take care of their children. Not men, boys are, or males in men's bodies. Men aren't mad about paying child support. It's the way that they have to pay child support through a system that then criminalizes them and demonizes them. That becomes the issue. So Keisha's still saying it's always accessible. The money goes to the state. It does. But Keisha, I have watched over and over again where men don't always have access to the children. Let's not say legally, right? The women are blocking access. And when they don't think they're getting their money, they block access. Okay? So, and then men don't always know the process by which to gain access. So, fathers, if you are an unwed father, in majority of the states, you have to go and file petitions for paternity, to establish paternity, custody, and child support. Well, she typically has to do the child support piece, but that's always in motion. In Georgia, it's legitimation. I'm in Missouri, I'm in Michigan, I'm in DC, I'm in Texas, I'm in California, I'm in Louisiana. Whew, I'm not even naming them all, but majority of those states, men have to find a way to access, unwed fathers have to find a way to legally access their parental rights before they can have that. And child support is not going to assist you with that. So I need you to stop calling the child support office asking for that. I get why you say it's always accessible. She said, well, I have been separated for 5 years and I have not put him on child support. Look, I don't know if that's good or bad in your situation. I think yeah. Let me see. She says he started to give 59 bucks here and there, been out for 5 years and still encourage him to be in their lives. See, that's different. And I know there are women like you who are doing everything they can to ensure that he has access. But when we look at the overall numbers, that ain't always the case. I'm telling you, I work with thousands of people. I have to have my own therapist because I work with too many people sometimes. And the women y'all don't care about access as a group, as a whole, and as a culture sometimes. We just don't care. And part of that has to do with our own fatherless piece, that when you grow up without a father, you're on two ends of the spectrum. Either you're in a position where you're like, I'm going to break this curse and he going to see these children by any means necessary. Or, child, I grew up without a father and I turned out fine, so they going to turn out fine too. We live in this really crazy, crazy idea in this crazy world. And I'm sorry that he decided to opt out of seeing them, and even $59 here and there. All states do not require, I didn't say all. That's why I said majority of the states require that. And I work in 33 states. So I said majority. All do not require that, but majority of them do when you're an unwed father. If you are married, that's something totally different. It's completely different. Um, well, he doesn't take the access, nor does he give the money. And so how do you deal with a situation when a person doesn't take the access and they don't provide the money? How do you deal with that? Is that something, I want to ask in the comments, how do you deal with that? Do you decide to take this person to court? Separated for 5 years is a very long time. Is that when you move forward with the divorce so you can then have something on paper? How do you deal with that after 5 years? Because your children are wanting to see their father. He only cares about access to them if he has access to me. See, that's where it gets all crazy. No, Keisha, it's not. You're talking about the acknowledgement of paternity. I'm telling you, it's not. In majority of the states, acknowledgement of paternity only allows you or gives you the responsibility to pay child support. I do this work. I know what I'm talking about. It only gives you a responsibility to pay child support. It does not give you access to the children. And you cannot take that just to a courtroom or to a situation and say, hey, I signed the acknowledgement of paternity. I didn't say all states. I said majority of the states require you to do paternity when you're an unwed father. They require you to establish paternity. So it's that acknowledgement of paternity does not get fathers access in majority of the states. I deal personally with it by letting my children know that they are a gift and it's his loss. That's a beautiful way to to make them feel loved and accepted, even though they're being rejected in that moment. So that's a beautiful way to do that, Keisha. Um, I want to kind of shift the conversation a little bit. Keisha, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for commenting because I like engagement. It keeps the conversation going. Once again, if you are watching in replay, let me know. Share this conversation because it's about to go to another direction. Not because I want to demean or disparage anyone. I just want to have this conversation. Keisha, let me say this one more time. I decided when I had them, even though I was married, I had to be prepared to take care of them by myself any given moment because he wasn't promised to live every day with me. Um, we were together when we were together. Why did you feel that way? As I'm shifting, why did you feel like he might abandon or jump ship? Is that just because of the statistics in marriage, or why did you feel that way? Um, as I said in the beginning of this, okay, she's saying he could have died at any moment. That's factual. That's factual. When I look at what we were talking about, like in getting involved in this conversation, child support is such a contentious thing. Like it's it's the place where people go, am I going to see the kids or am I not going to see the kids? Is he going to see the kids or is he not? And it's based off of money. And then It's like you deduce fatherhood to finances, to only being a provider. And your children need you to be more than a provider. They need you there emotionally and spiritually. They need you developmentally, because there are things that you do, Father, for them that mamas can't do because they weren't designed to do it. That's why children who are fatherless lack developmental skills in things that they need because they didn't have a father in the home. And I know people say, well, they can have a surrogate and a mentor. Yes, but there is something about when you have your biological father in the home that he can speak directly to aspects of you that are in your DNA. I am going to show you a video. I'm going to show you this video. This video, I think, is about 6 minutes long. Yeah, 6 minutes and 57 seconds long. I want to share this video simply because I believe that this is an interesting aspect of child support. When I first saw it, people were saying things like, this isn't true. This can't be real. There's another side to the story. All of those things. Let me go before I do this. Keisha says, and if we're providing all those things, I would never ask him for money. But why struggle with their emotional upsets over him not being there as well? Is my financial ones having to care for them alone? Ooh. Keisha's saying if he was there, she wouldn't even ask him for the money. That wouldn't even be a thing. And I'm telling you, Keisha is, I'm not going to say she's rare because there's a lot of women who feel this way. Or there's enough, I should say, who feel this way. And it's like that saying, like, the good dads are the ones who have to fight for their children and they have to go through all the loopholes and the jumps and all of that. And the bad dads are the ones who are, just making it worse for everyone. Keisha's one of those moms who's like, I want him to have access. And so she's paying a price that she shouldn't even have to pay. And she says one of those has to heal sometime or another. That's why we doing Healing Tuesdays, okay? Because somebody got to heal. That's only if the father is emotionally healthy himself. Otherwise, it causes emotional issues with the child. Mothers aren't always emotionally healthy either. And I know that's what we want to believe. But mothers aren't always emotionally healthy either. And so we find children who are being raised in homes that have mothers who are bipolar, borderline personality disorders, depression, all of these things, but that we don't even attach. We don't attach the same criteria to mothers as we do to fathers. Oh, she has to be, or the dad has to be perfect. He has to be this and that, and all these. We are all evolving in our healing process, and we all need a little bit of grace. All of us. I'm not going to say that it's only okay if the father is emotionally healthy himself. Once again, we're all growing and evolving in our healing journey. And it's one of the reasons I do Healing Tuesdays, because I want us to continue to heal this father wound that we have. That is actually the thing that's projecting upon all of our relationships, creating a lot of the contentious space that we have in the midst of growing up fatherless and now being a father and now being a mother in situations like this. I don't want to put the criteria on men that they have to be perfectly stable and emotionally this and that in order to show up for their children. Do I want them abusive? Absolutely not. Do I want them emotionally abusive? Absolutely not. But when we say emotionally healthy, I think we need to be careful how that looks, because most mothers aren't emotionally healthy when they are alone raising children as single moms. They are under tremendous stress and pressure, which then creates a lot of things that are going on with them. They are dealing with, they're dealing with aspects of their own childhood trauma that they were not able to heal. So they still have trauma that they're carrying through the journey of raising their children while being mothers. They're dealing with aspects of their childhood trauma while being mothers and raising their children. And so I just want us to be careful when we put these things on men that we don't put on mothers. I'm an equal opportunist over here. And so I want us to be careful when we do that. When people say, oh, they have red flags that we ignored, we all have red flags because we are in a healing journey. That's what this life is. And so we've got to know that. Keisha says, mm, Keisha says, absolutely. um, and feeling the pain they know their kids are going through. Come on, Keisha, because you went through that pain yourself. You've experienced some of that pain, and you're probably experiencing that pain, and now you're seeing it in your children, which is compounding that trauma. My suggestion, even to people who are watching, who are parents, who are in co-parenting situations, who are not in co-parenting situations, who are married and think everything's great, I need you to go to therapists. I need you to go to therapy. I need you to work that stuff out because it's the thing that's destroying you on the inside, and it's the thing that's challenging you as a parent. That may be, Keisha, why he thinks he can opt out of the relationship with the children. That may be why he's embarrassed. And sometimes, insecurity comes off as arrogance because people don't know how to. So they throw pride out there, giving $59 a month. I don't know what he makes, but $59 is not it. No. Keisha, see, Keisha says I wouldn't be here without my therapist. I'm gonna give her a whole amen on that. Because I don't feel like she's telling her story from a place of bitterness either. And I appreciate you telling it from a place, Keisha, that did sound like you were working through and you were in a place of wholeness. Wholeness doesn't always look pretty. Wholeness doesn't always have a happy ending, right? It doesn't. I know we think it does. Sometimes we've gone through cracks, and I used to give this analogy. If I break a coffee mug, um, and then I put it back together, it's whole, but it may leak in places, and I can see the cracks in other places. Doesn't always mean perfection. Um, oh, see, now the story's coming out. I don't understand it because he used to cry to me about his father was not around all the time. Keisha, that's your answer. He is struggling. That you just gave yourself the answer. You gave yourself the answer. He didn't have a father, and he's struggling with the pain of the breakup and the situation in a way that could be repetitive of what happened to his father. But until he sees that light, he's still carrying around the father wound that is really impacting how he's fathering and parenting his children. I want you to know that's the issue. It's not you, it's not whatever happened. That's the issue. He didn't work through it, he didn't heal it. I don't care about that other woman. She said, no, he's not struggling with the breakup because I left him because of another woman. Just because he has another woman does not mean he is not struggling mentally. I ain't going to say what I want to say because I'm Dr. Torri J right now. But if we was girlfriends, I'd say it's something totally different. So I'm going to play this video, and I need to shift because I got to shift because I want to have this conversation. This is why I'm on here. Um, I'm going to share my screen. Come on, share the screen. I've not done this on this app before. Okay, there it is. Open this. Go to theater. Okay, here we go. Keisha says she can't hear. Hmm. Anybody else? hear the video? Hmm. Okay, it's not gonna let us hear the video. It's not gonna let us hear it. I posted a little while ago. Oh, wait a minute. Why is it echo? It's not gonna let us hear the. Okay, why is it echo? I hear an echo. Let me turn it on. Okay, I hear a little bit. Do you guys hear the echo? I'm not using it. If you're using the same device, it won't. No, well, it's the streaming. It's the streaming product. So I don't know what that is. Okay, we try. We'll work on it. We'll figure it out. I hate the echo. I'm hating that echo. Jump back in. It's gonna give me an echo as I try to do that. And you guys can hear the video, but now it's echoing on me. Okay, we'll work. We'll figure it out. Okay, this is Ed Curry, the former NBA player, and he's telling a story. I'm skipping that. Mess with my conversation. I don't know what to do. Hold on, because I don't want to skip. Okay, are we back? Oh yeah, I should be back because I don't hear the echo anymore. I don't hear the echo, so it shouldn't be skipping. Okay, so tell me if you can hear me clearly now. I tried to show the video. Mm, my people was telling me I got to use restream. Okay, I'm back. Okay, I just needed to take off the video. Maybe that's what I needed to do for the other situation. We're not going to worry about it. Eddie Curry is a former NBA player. He gets married to his high school sweetheart. They go through craziness. Okay. He then pays her child support directly, pays over $1 million or around $1 million in child support. Then, because she wanted to just drag on the situation, she then takes him to court. And in taking him to court, the court says, well, that was a gift. So now you owe her another $1 million in child support. And mind you, this is after he's no longer playing football or basketball. He no longer is, making all this money. But now he has to pay her another $1 million. There's a conversation to be had around the idea of not paying through the system and paying someone directly, right? A lot of men, you find it very degrading to be in the system. I want to know what y'all think about this story where this man is saying, and it's public record, where he's saying he's paid $1 million, giving it to her directly. Then, after the fact, way after the fact, she decides she's going to take him to child support, and he owes $1 million in arrears because the courts say that this was a gift. I want to know where y'all at with that, because that's a challenging one. Like, do I go through the system and make sure it goes through? But if I miss a payment or two payments, I'm gonna be living in fear. If I miss a payment, I'm gonna lose my license. I'm gonna lose this. I could be in jail. All of those things. Or do we work out an agreement and whatever I need to work out with the person I have children with, so that we can co-parent successfully, lovingly, without going through a system. But then if somebody get mad, they can take you back through the system and you're in arrears. And I don't believe that's the case for every state. Um, that becomes a state by state issue too, and a judge by judge issue. Um, Keisha says, that's true, it can happen, but this is also why, if you're married, you need to have it as a part of the divorce decree. That's very true. In divorce, that's going to happen. In divorce, it's going to happen. But with him, he clearly, yeah, something was awry. That this money is not where it needed to be, and it was going to raising the children. But this woman is now saying, you didn't give me no money, or the money you gave me was a gift. A lot of men I know live in that space of concern with that, but then they don't want to go through the system. So I know the men are watching, and you will watch if you ain't on here right now, because I know y'all watching like the shadow and you don't click it, so I can't see who's on. I know. Um, how would you prefer to pay for child support? How would that look for you? Look to you if you are, your provider. I want to take care of my children. What does taking care of your children financially look like is my question. Because you're in a quagmire in some ways. Do you pay it directly to her and potentially risk her going to court later and a judge siding with her saying it was a gift? Or do you pay through a system where, I always say, you criminalize, you demonize, there's a lot of villainized, you talk to like you ain't nothing when you go to the child support office. That's a fact. I've been to many, and I've had to help the women behind the glass, or well, mostly it's women. Don't talk to them like that. Don't do it. I've done it, Keisha. I've told them, and my clients can vouch for it. Um, I don't play that. Or do you go through that system that takes you, like, how do you do this? Delaware will rip him a new one. I say y'all work it out and be consistent. Keisha says work it out, be consistent, get your children, have access to them. I don't even know if that young man, he did say his son was living with him at this point. That says a lot. Boys are always going to run to their fathers at a certain point. They do. Even if they mad at them, they eventually run to them because they want to know the story or whatever it is. And even after they learn the story, sometimes they don't stick around, but they do run to them. I knew, like tonight, I'm thinking and processing while I'm having this conversation with you, because I have a place about child support. I don't like it. I don't like the fact that it's a collection agency. I do not like the fact that they get money for Title 4D. I don't like the fact that this money it's incentivized in a way that the more money the state collects, the more, help they get from the national government. And I don't like that part. I don't like that part. I feel like it makes it extremely difficult for men to have access. I feel like it makes it complicated when two people want to get together and just work it out amongst themselves and have an agreement. Because if after any point, Keisha, you decide, okay, you guys have worked out an agreement, but now, Keisha, you need help. You need some health insurance for your children. And now they're going to put him on child support and maybe go all the way back to when it all started. That's why I said this is going to be a complicated, controversial conversation, simply because this ain't easy. This isn't easy. This is one of the most contentious, complicated aspects of co-parenting. And we need to be honest about that. Ladies, you can't be mad at him for being upset about the process when the process is intended to screw him one way or another. And because you guys aren't together, the trust isn't there. And it's and so I'm not saying men shouldn't take care of their children. Don't try to put me in that category, because that's not what I'm saying. But this is challenging because, ladies, what you don't know is what I just said to you. The government is incentivized to get this money from you They reap the benefits of collecting it from you. And the daddy's looking like he ain't paying, or, oh, he's on child support, child. Like, it's a negative thing. Keisha says, I don't like that part either, but I think that if they just paid and spent the needed time, we wouldn't have these issues. Keisha, you go to therapy. You wouldn't have them issues. Your sister's got these issues. Your sister's got the issues. And it's the unhealed place. Keisha told y'all she wouldn't be here without therapy. So I'm telling you, your sisters need to go to therapy, because many of them could care less about that. Here we go. And then they get taxed. Oh yeah, that's another one. With the quality of life they were providing, that's what they have to pay to keep it that way. Most men think it's a couple of dollars a price. Couple of dollars a price. All he has to do is pay and market child support on the checks and Cash App. Oh yeah, and never cash. Yeah, you don't never give nobody Cash App or cash. And even people I see, they send it Zelle and they mark it and they're like, that was child support. I've seen that recently. That gets real challenging. That's a no. You don't do that. And then here's the other part. When we talk about taxed, child support comes out and it's non-taxable for mom, but it's like dad is taxed as if that money that's taken out for child support on his check is still there. So he's double taxed. It's why they have an issue with it. But I also understand why women have an issue with it. Keisha said, I have plenty of health insurance, and that's what they said they would do, do so her husband didn't have to pay. I keep telling him, this is why I have not put him on child support. But I refuse to watch him do all these glamorous things with that other woman, and my kids can't even see him. Hasn't seen him once in 5 years. See? And then there's the other part. You can't be flossing online with your new chick and you ain't taking care of your kids. And what kind of woman are you that you wouldn't even let, like, you wouldn't care if he take care of his kids? That's a whole, Keisha can't even go there with you today because you're going to take me some places. That's why I said there's a few times I wanted to say something, but I got to stay. But that allows him to file for the return of those taxes. It does, but let's say he in arrears and they gonna capture that anyway. They gonna take it anyway. So it's a whole, it's just, I hope y'all hear me. And I wanted more engagement because I know y'all got a lot to say. And I know my people on shared parenting and all of those pages have a lot more to say. But I'll see what y'all say in the comments, as this video is watched. But I just want, I am solution minded. So my brain is like, how do you fix this? This is a whole issue. It's a whole issue. How do you fix this? Do you tell people don't break up? Now I'm gonna tell you something right now, and I'm getting real comfortable because it's 4:51 where I'm at. I'm sorry. I did a podcast last week, not my own, but I was on someone's podcast, and they were talking about the pains and the injustices of having multiple children with multiple women. And one of the things that I saw was, I think it was like 60% more likely to go to jail and some other things. And you can't move financially and socially. You just can't. When you have children with multiple children with multiple women. And it makes me look at child support the same way. Like, how do I, as an individual who has now had a breakup, who has now repeated the cycle that, like Keisha said about her ex, that I said I wasn't going to repeat. I've repeated it. So now I am shameful. I feel as though I'm a failure. So now what am I supposed to do? And I'm not just talking about the men. I'm talking about the women too. It is embarrassing. The women are embarrassed just as much as the men are, but the women have no choice. And that's why when it was said, as long as the men are healthy emotionally or emotionally healthy, I'm like, the mothers aren't either, because the breakup is destroying them. They're looking back at their situation with their father, and that is now making them feel there's some compounded trauma that's now they're experiencing. And then they're looking back at their childhood even more so, going, I can't even process that because I'm here and I have to take care of my children. And I got to focus on my children. And that doesn't mean that a mother is healthy emotionally while she's doing that. She is coping and she is fighting through and she's surviving, but she is not where she needs to be emotionally. And sometimes because she has to take on the role of a father by providing in the way that she does, sometimes emotions and emotionally connecting with your children goes out the door. And that is then left to the oldest child, who then becomes the parent to the children, parentification. And that is why I have a problem with so much of this. I'm not doing the Fatherless Generation Foundation because I have all the answers. I have an answer to an aspect of this, and that's what I'm going to work till Jesus come back, or I'll go on. And I won't even say that because this is now in a trust, and somebody will take this over when I'm not here. It will continue to be here even when I'm not. So I'll say till Jesus come home. Um, I want to help you think about something different. It's Healing Tuesdays. And Keisha said it best. She said she wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her therapist. I'm going to put the link for the video that I wanted to play for you in the chat for you to be able to watch it on your own and for you to be able to just have an understanding of what I wanted to say and where I wanted to go. Without healing, many of us are engaged in relationships and situations that we're not supposed to be in, that are automatically setting us up to repeat a cycle that we knew even as kids we didn't want to repeat, that we understood at a very early age it was dysfunctional. We weren't comfortable with it. At least I was a very intuitive child. I paid attention to everything. That's fine. It says I can't post messages on some channels, but hopefully it goes to the channels that I needed to go to. I knew I didn't want to be a single mom. And I'm not fit for that life. I'm not. I recognized in my own home that there were some challenges, even with my mother's upbringing, that created challenges in our household and in our relationship. But when I do the work that I do, I see those same challenges in so many of your relationships with your parents, with your siblings, with your partners, and with your spouses. And too much of it goes back to the father wound. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I do coaching, and once you get through the father wound, the mother wound will always show up. She will always show up. And that is one of the most difficult to work through. But when it comes to this father wound that we have to be able to heal, we have to be able to work through, we have to be able to go back and find out who he is, what happened. And I'm not saying necessarily what happened to the relationship. You may want to know that, or you may not want to know that, because that may implicate your mother in ways that you're not mentally ready to deal with. But I'm talking about what happened to him. Who is he? Why wasn't he there? What was his childhood like? Some of you would say, I don't care. You must care, because it's what is driving you. It is the very thing that is causing you to be broken and not to have the successful relationships you desire to have. Keisha said her husband would lay in the bed and cry about why his father wasn't there. Some of you have men, and I'm going to speak to the women who have men. Some of you have men who they may not cry about why their father isn't there, but you see anger rises up in them like this. It's like a boom. That's a father wound. That's a father wound. And so my prayer, oh wait, Keisha says, and this is why I said what I said about the fathers. Keisha says, we all are not fit for that life, but we live the life we are in surviving. We are surviving the best way we can. That's factual. Oh, I will have to do another conversation because I have to go through here. She done pulled out at least 3 different episodes on something else, on a different situation in this conversation. Everyone is surviving. And it's time that we find ways to thrive. And that means getting a therapist so that you can be the best mother that you can be. And so that fathers can be the best fathers that they can be. And stop acting like you don't need anybody to do that. Like you don't need a therapist. That, oh, I don't have no childhood trauma. What kind of childhood trauma do I? I don't have anything. We all have childhood trauma. All of us. There's not one of us who escaped it. We all have it. And especially if your father was not in the home with you, I need you to stop. I need you to stop stop acting like you're fine and you're okay. And he wasn't there, so it doesn't matter. It does matter. It does matter. We wouldn't be sitting here having a conversation about child support if broken homes and fatherlessness wasn't a thing. Keisha says, that's right. She says, I have trauma. Keisha, I won't even ask you. See, you're going to make me inbox you and be like, girl, can you do a side by side with me? When we talk about the trauma, because I had trauma and didn't even know it. I didn't know who my father was. We never talked about a father. What you mean father? Then I meet this man. I'm told about this man. Then I want to meet the man, but I'm like, I don't have any trauma. And then you learn you have trauma. You know why? Because Torri, you saw it in this amazing family called the Pettifords, who were dropped into your life, and you got to see what a wife looked like and what a husband looked like. But you never got to see your mother move in that mode. You never got to see how your mother and your father operated together. That matters. Your father's absent. You don't have access to him. He can't tell you some of the pitfalls in life. And some of them are not just from outside of your environment. They're inside your environment, but they're also, as I said earlier, they are a part of your DNA. And that's why you're repeating cycles that you don't even understand. You don't even understand. And my hope tonight from this conversation about child support will get you to go and try to figure out how you got to where you are. Keisha said, inbox me. Sure, I have a lot of trauma. I thank you for even just conveying. I pray, because I even saw Kate when she jumped on here. I appreciated her jumping on here, but that's why I was gentle going, I don't know if that's what we want to say. So, Kate, I hope you're not offended by what I said. I just want to be clear that that gets complicated, or not complicated. That's a dangerous line to walk when women aren't living their perfect lives either. Get the help that you need. I can't say it enough, and I keep saying it. I'm going to get off of here. I want to talk to you guys quickly about some of the stuff that's happening with the Fatherless Generation Foundation. We now have 15 peer groups fully moving. I'm going to start putting out where they are and sending a link where people can find those Boys and Girls Clubs. You have to be in Boys and Girls Clubs or YMCAs in order to access this first 15. I am looking to work with other community centers, but most times, you have to pay some small nominal fee to be a part of these different organizations. And so just know we don't charge a fee for our peer groups, but I want moms to know there are peer groups that are opening up. We now have 15 in motion. I'm working on another 20 over the next few weeks that will open up. And worst case scenario, we'll just start everything because we're working on 106 total right now. I am raising funds to get this done. If you want to donate, go to tfgf.org and you can donate. And we're doing the 100 Standing with 100 campaign, where we're looking for people who will donate $100 to our organization to relaunch all 106 of our peer groups. Because the peer groups, Keisha, is where we help children who are growing up in fatherless homes now learn how to heal. Because healing is evolving. We never stop healing. So we're giving them the tools that are helping them to do that, and then they take those and carry those on into their adult lives. How do I know that they're actually carrying them on? Because I got my babies who have circled back and they're in college and we're in love and hanging out again. And they're like, this story, if it hadn't been for you, I wouldn't be where I am right now. And I'm still using the tools and techniques that you gave me. That, ah, I can't get enough of it. So I need you to know that we're helping children now do the things that you guys didn't get to do. I also have a pilot program for single moms in Florida that's starting. That's a part of our Beyond Fatherless peer group. Single moms run me down in airports, and you're the one helping my children. And then if I'm teaching, gosh, you guys keep me after the the peer group after I've worked with your children. Children sitting in the car, mama getting her own one-on-one peer group, or maybe there's 2 or 3 standing there. And so we decided to do a Beyond Fatherless peer group for moms because, once again, there's some steps you miss when your dad's not there. There's some steps that you don't get. Dads are already getting some of this stuff already in the commitment to fatherhood. So don't ask me about their peer groups. They're already getting their stuff in their program through commitment to fatherhood. And so I just want you guys to know that things are moving forward. And I can say this. I can say this. I am literally in Africa right now, y'all. And I am launching the Fatherless Generation Foundation in Africa. Like this, my mind can't even believe it. And trust me, we were meeting on this couch. I have a beautiful room. Meeting on this couch today and getting things done. I'm already incorporated here. There are things that are moving forward almost like the speed of light. The team that I have here, they don't play. And so the first thing that we're going to start with are the peer groups for the kids. And so I am beyond excited that I get to do this work. And I get to travel now the globe. And trust me, it's an adjustment. Africa is different. Oh, it's different. I did get my hair braided by the African lady today. So I've already got my first cultural experience in that. And so it's very different. But just know I am still doing the work in the States while juggling being here in Africa. So pray for me, please, as I continue to do this. But Keisha, I'm gonna inbox you, or how about you message us, and then I'll get back to you in the next couple of days. Okay? All right. Once again, do what you need to do to heal. So this conversation around child support won't even be part of your journey. But if it is, you will have the best co-parenting experience, and you will be able to know that access to your children, and dads deserve access to their children, and you should give your father, but you should give men access to their children, but also men, you have to provide and financially do what it is that you need to do in order to have that that meaningful relationship without all of the contention. Okay? However, how I want to say that. I think that's where I'm going to end it. All right, you guys have a great night. I'll talk to you later. Bye.